Comrades, in 10 minutes, it's very difficult to take up all the points of Comrade Mandel. I was looking forward to this debate, the first I've ever had publicly with any Trotskyist group in 40 years of activity in the communist movement. And I thought you're going to have much more experience of attacking me than I'm going to have of attacking you. And especially in listening to Comrade Mandel, as his references to anger grew more strident and he began to refer to bastards and cowards, I became more and more nervous and thought that under his militant attack, I really would be better off away from this platform because he might assault me at any moment. Now, I didn't grow up in a communist movement that has a tradition of cowardice in the face of class struggle. That's not my movement. That's not the situation in which I became a communist in the East End of London in the 1930s. Now, I can understand why Comrade Mandel doesn't want to take responsibility for what the communist movements have done in Western Europe, but he hardly has to take responsibility for anything. There are no forces who are in a position to shift the fundamental political and social conditions of those countries, which are either under his control or direction. These are the problems, however, which the Communist Party faces in a number of countries in Western Europe. Now, if we are to talk, I don't simply want to take up references to what the Italian Communist Party is doing, as if that was the centre of the debate on perspectives for Western socialism. Of course, there are differing national conditions, and of course, there are different estimates which may arise, and these estimates may conflict with each other, any more than I would be surprised if there were not conflicting tendencies amongst Trotskyist groups, all proclaiming themselves Marxists in the various countries of Western Europe. Now, we are revolutionaries. We're interested in a revolutionary transformation. And we are unable to make any serious approach to this unless we're able to deal with two bits of analysis. One is our analysis of the world situation and the problems of world capitalism itself. I quite agree. And the second, and very important, are the specific characteristics of each national situation. If they get separated, then it will be quite impossible for any leading force to exercise its leadership. But what emerges from the nature of what Mandel calls the structural crisis of world capitalism is that in our present-day conditions, the struggle to control the national situation under working class, by working class and democratic forces is vital if not only are the working class movements to advance, but if they are to be able to contribute in the most powerful way to contribute to their international responsibilities. If we are going to make references to the internationalization of capital, then this has not diminished the problem of democratic control of the economy by the working people, but on the contrary, it has increased its importance. And what I found tragic in the whole of Comrade Mandel's onslaught on the communist parties of Western Europe, and most specifically his onslaught on the Italian Communist Party, was any view or strategy which he was presenting which I could get hold of and represent as an approach for the working classes of those countries. Working class international solidarity is undoubtedly vital, but if we take the result of the internationalization of capital to be, as Comrade Mandel did in one of his pamphlets, to involve in the end an all or nothing approach, everyone together or no solution at all, then we're deprived of any perspective of struggle. We're deprived of any way of analyzing international capitalist rivalry. The struggle of the working class for socialism, if we are, for example, to approach it with regard to economic problems, must mean that we are obliged to put forward a set of propositions which not only arise from the day-to-day struggle at the level of the factory and the enterprise, but which involve proposals for action by government and by state. To do anything else is to really separate the economic from the political struggle and to prevent the working class from exercising its strength on a national political level. Monty Johnston correctly said, the question of revolution is itself a process involving profound changes in consciousness, the development of working class unity, the development of alliances around the working class itself, and the transformation of the labour movement of any country, not least the British labour movement, is one of the most complex problems that surely must exist in Western Europe. And the idea that all that stands in the way of shifting the consciousness of the mass of the working people of this country is an opportunist leadership is itself a profound illusion which will prevent us from making any shift in the working class itself. To break the stability of capitalism is a good phrase, but if we are to do that, then it must be in a way that provides the working class and its allies with the possibilities of advance, and not one that throws hostages to reaction, because because reaction can have a mass base as well, and therefore the problems of strategy become enormously important. And we have not heard what that strategy is. It is necessary to advance concrete economic propositions which begin to challenge not only the bourgeois distributions of distribution, the bourgeois conditions of distribution, but the bourgeois conditions of accumulation and of production. But this itself assumes that there is a policy of stages, there is a policy of grasping the way in which that mobilization is to take place. And if we have any chance at all of profound economic, political and social change in France and Italy, compared with the situation that we have known for a number of years, then it must arise from the strategies which those communist parties themselves has developed. Maybe there are groups who may wish to be parasitic on that advance, but the actual conditions under which that change is to take place is the product of communist activity in conjunction with other militants. I would like to make a number of other points, but there is no time and I have to conclude. Let me just mention that in a pamphlet called Revolutionary Socialism by the IMG, we are told, when the so-called program is developed, that only a mass mobilization can win these demands, and when the mass mobilization is able to throw the state and parliament into chaos, and when the committees established by the mass movement have taken affairs into their own hands, will it really be possible to sort things out? What a proposition to put to the British working class. We'll have chaos, and then we'll have committees that will sort things out. Comrades, in my opinion, this not only probably underestimates the resilience of British capitalism, but it certainly understates the intelligence and capacity of the British working class and labour movement, and it ignores the problems of alliances which it's got to create. It is not only not a strategy, it is not even, if it doesn't even offend common sense, comrades, it obliterates it.